Have you ever seen a flower so rare that only two plants exist on Earth? Or a flower that blooms for just a few hours and then disappears forever before sunrise? Even stranger, some of the most beautiful flowers on this planet were once believed to be completely extinct, wiped out from nature, gone forever. But somehow, they came back. In today's video, we're counting down 13 of the most beautiful and rare flowers in the world, including ones that you will probably never see in your lifetime. And trust me, the last one looks like something not from Earth at all. Number 13, Chocolate Cosmos. A flower that shouldn't even exist anymore, yet somehow, it still does. The chocolate cosmos once grew freely in the wild landscapes of Mexico, quietly blooming with its deep, velvety petals and a scent so rich, it smelled like pure dark chocolate. Not sweet like candy, but dark, warm, and almost mysterious, the kind of fragrance you wouldn't expect from a flower. But beauty like this didn't last. As human activity spread, its natural habitat slowly disappeared. The land changed, the environment shifted, and one day, the chocolate cosmos was simply gone. No seeds left behind, no wild plants surviving. It became one of those rare cases where a species didn't just become endangered, it vanished completely from nature. For years, people believed it was extinct. But then, something unusual happened. Scientists managed to preserve it, not by finding it again in the wild, but by cloning the last remaining plant. Every chocolate cosmos that exists today is not truly natural anymore. It's a living copy, a continuation of something that the wild has already lost. So when you look at this flower, you're not just seeing beauty. You're looking at a memory of nature, something that once lived freely, disappeared, and was brought back, but never quite the same. Number 12, Middle Mist's Red. A flower so rare, it exists in only two places on Earth. The Middle Mist's Red is not just beautiful, it's almost unreal. With its soft, layered pink petals and perfectly symmetrical bloom, it looks like something that should be everywhere. In gardens, in parks, in the wild. But it isn't. In fact, if you wanted to see one in real life, you would only have two chances in the entire world. One lives quietly inside a greenhouse in London, the other hidden away in a private garden in New Zealand. That's it. No forests full of them, no fields, no wild populations, just two surviving plants, fragile, protected, and completely cut off from nature. What makes this even stranger is that the Middle Mist's Red wasn't always this rare. It was originally brought from China in the early 1800s, during a time when exotic plants were being collected and transported across continents, but somewhere along the way, it disappeared from its homeland. Lost, forgotten, possibly wiped out completely in the wild. And now, what remains is not a thriving species, but a pair of survivors. Two living reminders of something that once existed and almost vanished forever. Number 11, Kadupul. A flower that blooms in total silence and disappears before the world can even notice. The Kadupul is often called the Queen of the Night, but even that doesn't fully capture how rare and fleeting it truly is. It doesn't bloom during the day. It doesn't wait for anyone. Instead, sometime in the deep of night, under complete darkness, the flower slowly opens, revealing delicate white petals that almost seem to glow in the shadows. And then, before sunrise arrives, it's gone. By the time morning comes, the petals have already wilted, leaving behind nothing but a memory. You can't pick it, you can't sell it, you can't even truly own it. Because the moment you try to take it, it dies instantly. That's why the Kadupul is often called the most priceless flower in the world, not because of how it looks, but because of how impossible it is to possess. To witness it, you need luck, timing, and patience. Miss it by a few hours, and you'll have to wait an entire year just for another chance. Number 10, Rafflesia. A flower so massive and so disturbing that people remember its smell more than its beauty. The Rafflesia doesn't grow like a normal flower. There are no leaves, no stems, no visible plant structure. For most of its life, it hides completely inside a host vine, invisible to the outside world, slowly growing in secret. And then, one day, it erupts. A gigantic bloom bursts open, stretching over a meter wide, with thick, fleshy petals covered in strange patterns. It looks less like a flower, and more like something alive. But what truly makes it unforgettable is the smell. A strong, rotting odor like decaying flesh. That's why many people call it the corpse flower. It uses that scent to attract flies and insects, tricking them into pollinating it. The bloom only lasts for a few days. After that, it collapses and disappears, returning to nothing. Rare, short-lived, and completely unlike any other flower on Earth. Number 9. Ghost Orchid. A flower that doesn't seem to belong to the ground or even to this world. The ghost orchid doesn't grow like normal plants. There are no visible leaves, no solid stem, nothing that clearly connects it to the earth. Instead, it clings to tree bark deep inside dark, humid swamps, its roots blending so perfectly into the surroundings that the plant itself becomes almost invisible. And then, out of nowhere, the flower appears. Pure white, delicate, floating in midair like a ghost. At night, under low light, it almost glows, creating the illusion that it's hovering, completely detached from reality. That's where it gets its name. But seeing one in real life is incredibly rare. It only grows in very specific conditions, in remote, hard-to-reach places. Even experienced botanists can spend years searching and never find one. And just like a ghost, it appears silently and disappears just as quickly. Number 8. Semper Augustus. A flower so valuable, people once traded their entire homes just to own it. The Semper Augustus wasn't just rare, it became an obsession. With its striking red petals streaked with pure white flames, it looked unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Every bloom was unique, unpredictable, almost like a piece of living art. But what made it truly extraordinary was how few existed. No one could reliably grow it. No one could control its pattern. And that uncertainty turned it into one of the most desired flowers in history. At the peak of its fame, a single bulb of Semper Augustus was worth more than a luxurious house in Amsterdam. People sold land, they gave up fortunes, all for a chance to own this one flower. But like all obsessions, it didn't last. The market collapsed, the flowers disappeared, and what was once the most valuable bloom in the world became almost impossible to find. Today, it remains a symbol of beauty, rarity, and how far people will go for something they can't truly control. Number 7. Bird of Paradise. A flower that looks less like a plant and more like a bird frozen in mid-flight. The Bird of Paradise doesn't bloom quietly. When it opens, its bright orange and deep blue petals spread out in a sharp, almost mechanical shape, forming what looks exactly like the head and wings of an exotic bird. It's not just similar. From the right angle, it's almost identical. That's why it stands out instantly, even among hundreds of other flowers. Native to tropical regions, it thrives under strong sunlight, growing tall and bold, refusing to blend in with anything around it. But what makes it truly fascinating is how it interacts with nature. Certain birds land on it to feed, and in the process, they trigger the flower structure to release pollen, a perfectly timed mechanism, almost like it was designed. It's not just beautiful, it's alive in a way that feels intentional, almost engineered. Number 6. Kinabalu Orchid. A flower so rare, it only exists on one mountain in the entire world. The Kinabalu orchid doesn't grow in forests, gardens, or valleys. It survives only on the steep, rugged slopes of Mount Kinabalu in Malaysia, a place where conditions are harsh, unpredictable, and constantly changing. High altitude, thin air, extreme weather. And yet, this flower thrives there. With long, elegant petals stretching outward in perfect symmetry, it carries a quiet, almost regal beauty, not flashy, but powerful. But what makes it truly extraordinary is how difficult it is to find. It takes years just to bloom. It refuses to grow outside its natural habitat. And even on that mountain, sightings are incredibly rare. Because of that, it has become one of the most valuable orchids in the world, not just for its beauty, but for how impossible it is to replicate. You can't simply plant it. You can't mass produce it. You either go to the mountain and hope to find it, or you may never see it at all. Number 5. Himalayan Blue Poppy. A flower so unreal, many people think its color has been edited. The Himalayan Blue Poppy doesn't look natural. Its petals carry a deep, glowing blue, not pale, not faded, but rich and intense, like something painted rather than grown. In a world where most flowers are red, yellow, or white, this kind of blue almost shouldn't exist. But it does. Hidden high in the mountains, where the air is thin and the temperatures stay cold, this flower grows in silence, far away from human reach. It doesn't adapt easily, it doesn't survive in warm climates, and even experienced gardeners struggle to keep it alive. That's why seeing one in full bloom feels almost unreal, like finding something that doesn't belong to this planet. Beautiful, fragile, and incredibly difficult to keep alive. Number 4. Victoria Amazonica. A flower so large, it can hold the weight of a human. The Victoria Amazonica doesn't grow like an ordinary water plant. It spreads across the surface of still waters, forming massive circular leaves that can reach incredible sizes, wide, flat, and strong enough to support real weight. From above, it looks calm, perfect, almost unreal. But underneath, a complex structure of veins and air pockets gives it the strength to float and carry loads that no other flower could handle. And then, at the center, the bloom appears. It opens pure white on the first night, glowing softly against the dark water. Then, by the next day, it changes, turning into a deep pink, as if the flower itself is transforming before your eyes. But just like many rare flowers, its beauty doesn't last long. It blooms, it changes, and then it fades, leaving behind only the silent surface of the water, as if nothing ever happened. Number 3. King Protea. A flower that doesn't just bloom, it commands attention. The King Protea is massive, bold, and impossible to ignore. At first glance, it looks less like a flower, and more like a crown-thick layers of pointed petals spreading outward, surrounding a dense, textured center. Everything about it feels powerful, heavy, structured, almost royal. That's why it's often seen as a symbol of strength and dominance in nature. But despite its size and presence, it grows in environments that are far from easy, dry, exposed landscapes where only the toughest plants survive. It doesn't rely on delicate beauty. It stands out through sheer form and scale. And when it blooms, it doesn't blend in. It takes over the entire scene. Number 2. Black Bat Flower. A flower that doesn't look like a flower at all, but like something alive. The black bat flower is dark, strange, and almost unsettling at first glance. Its petals spread out like wings, wide, thin, and shadowy, forming the shape of a bat in mid-flight. But what makes it truly unforgettable are the long, thread-like strands hanging beneath it. They stretch downward like whiskers, thin, endless, almost unnatural. It doesn't grow in open fields or bright gardens. It hides in humid, tropical environments where the air is thick and the light barely reaches the ground, at the kind of place where something like this feels right at home. Everything about it feels different. Not soft, not delicate, but mysterious, and slightly disturbing. It's the kind of flower that makes you look twice, just to be sure it's real. Number 1. Juliette Rose. A flower so perfect, it had to be created, not discovered. The Juliette Rose doesn't come from the wild. It was carefully developed over many years, shaped and refined until it reached a level of beauty that feels almost unreal. Its petals form in perfect layers, soft and full, with a warm peach tone that seems to glow under light, not too bright, not too pale, just balanced in a way that feels intentional. Every bloom looks controlled, precise, almost flawless. But what makes it stand above all the others is the effort behind it. Years of trial, countless failed attempts, endless patience, all to create a flower that looks like it shouldn't need improvement, yet was built to be exactly this way. It's not rare because it's hidden. It's rare because it represents something different, a moment where human effort tried to match, and maybe even surpass, nature itself. And somehow, it came very close. And those were 13 of the most beautiful and rare flowers on Earth. From a flower that came back from extinction, to one that exists in only 2 places in the entire world, to a bloom that lives for just a few hours, and then disappears forever. Some of them are almost impossible to find. Some of them no longer exist in the wild. And some you may never get the chance to see in your lifetime. But that's what makes them unforgettable. Because beauty isn't always about what lasts. Sometimes it's about what almost disappeared. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and stay with us, because there are still countless hidden wonders out there, waiting to be discovered. And in the next video, we're diving into something even more unbelievable. Something that shouldn't exist at all. Stay tuned.